Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be doing a video I've been wanting to do a long time because I did one before titled Why I Left Atheism, but it was on a camera that was compatible with YouTube, and as YouTube changed over the years, because I've been on YouTube for like 6 or 7 years, I believe, they changed the format of it so the video wasn't as good quality. So now we have a GoPro, and it's good because I can do a new and improved Why I Left Atheism video. And you know, as I tap my finger to my formerly Bible page turning fingers and Bible speaking mouth, I realized something when I was in atheism, and it took me years to realize what atheism really is. Atheism is a crutch for those timid people that cannot bear the reality of God. So I want to tell you a little testimony of why I left atheism. You know, as a child, I was taken to the Catholic Church, and I saw a lot of inconsistencies there. And you know how they have different saints that you pray to, and of course I still believe that's wrong, but that really turned me off on not really God, but religion. You know, I was still open to the possibility of God, but by the way, we're taking some awesome corners here. I'm on the Yamaha R1. You know, I love this bike. People say, don't get a leader bike, it's too powerful, you don't need the leader bike, just get like an R6 or whatever, but it does make a big difference on the freeways and things like that. But, so I basically rejected God. I'm like, you know, God doesn't exist. And then as I went through the godless, liberal, socialist, indoctrinating public school system here in Californication, they taught me that we're all just animals, evolved from animals, and so I, you know, drifted away from any belief that God would exist. You know, I do believe that what was really happening is I was suppressing the truth in unrighteousness, like Scripture says. What a lot of atheists, they'll say they don't believe in God, but there's so much proof and evidence for God. They're like the man that's trying to hold a basketball underwater. You ever try to do that? You hold a basketball underwater and hold on here. I gotta go left. Sometimes there's like gravel here, so I gotta be careful. What the heck is this guy? Okay, let's hold up a second. Are you leaving, or give me a hint? Okay. So, let's get on it a bit here. You know what happens when you hold a basketball underwater? It keeps popping back up, and you have to suppress it. You have to hold it down, and that's what atheists tend to do. And then I started studying evolution, and this is kind of a trigger which caused me to doubt atheism, because I saw too much design in all of these species. And you know, here's what's really stupid about atheism. If you have a dog or a cat, go get your dog or cat right now and just hold them in front of you. Atheists want you to believe that as a direct result of a massive explosion in the universe that was caused by nothing, by the way. They say nothing did it. Look at this. Let's go over here and let's use these donkeys as an example. So, atheists want you to believe that the Big Bang happened and these donkeys just popped out of the explosion, right? They just exploded out of it. I gotta go up and turn around here. These donkeys here in California, they're wild donkeys. There's basically they just let them run wild, like, because the Environmental Act, where you have to have these wild donkeys. Oh boy, lots of gravel. So as a direct result of the Big Bang, you see how the front tire slipped back there? These donkeys popped out, and I just couldn't believe that these species popped out of an explosion with eyes and ears. And I mean, that's really stupid that someone would believe that. I could believe, however, these donkeys, good, they're going up there where it's safe. I could believe, however, that someone guided it, or something, or God guided it. You know, that seems like it makes more sense. It doesn't seem like it's not guided. I've never seen an explosion create design and order. So atheists believe out of chaos, design and order arrived. And I couldn't believe that. It even had a tinge of that religiosity, like in the Catholic Church, like you just had to believe it on faith. And then I started looking for these transitional fossils, the missing link, and I couldn't find any missing links. So I believe there's something else going on there with all of this creation. So anyways, I started studying science. DNA is very fascinating. I was fascinated by that. Kind of scared these donkeys are going to pop out in front of us because they're all over. You don't want to hit a donkey on a Yamaha R1. So I became very fascinated very fascinated with design and DNA and things like that. And then, of course, I read scripture, and I read about Jesus Christ, and I noticed that his words that he taught were totally out of this world. Never really heard of words like that until I heard of Jesus Christ's teachings, you know. And then as I started studying what atheists believe, and they believe that the universe is going to die and everything inside it will die eventually. You know, that's exactly what science says, that the universe is going to die and everything inside it's going to die. So I thought, well, what's the purpose of atheism? See these crosses on the left? It's like a church up there. And I realized that on atheism, there is no purpose. The end result of atheism is death. No matter what way atheists want to slice it, it's going to end up in death. Stinking, rotting, pathetic, purposeless death. And so I could not find any proof and evidence that atheism were true. And let's take this corner here. And so without any evidence that atheism were true, and seeing that it basically just leads to death. So when you see these atheists saying that they're going to create this great utopia in life, it's not really true, because science has already shown, unless God steps in, the universe is going to die and everything inside of it dies. So what's the point? I don't get it. What's the point of atheism? There really is no point. And atheists cannot provide a better worldview, since no matter what worldview they choose, it ends in death. They're admitting that it ends in death. So I just don't get that. I just couldn't agree with that. Now, when I started researching Christianity, I found lots of evidence, and what kind of blew my mind is, why would all these people go to these horrible deaths for Jesus Christ, you know? And how did Christianity explode onto the scene unless something happened, something had to happen? So I started studying Christianity, and I was fascinated with the teachings of Jesus Christ were different like out of this world. And of course now I know they are out of this world. But, you know, pray for your enemies, he says. If someone tells you to walk with them a mile, go with them 2 miles. You know, this was teaching that is not from man, you know, it's just out of this world. And then Jesus had the audacity to claim that he is God and that he came down from heaven. So I started really being fascinated with Scripture, and I started reading it, and I went to the beach, and I was on the beach reading Scripture, and I had an epiphany. I got it. In Scripture, Jesus has this episode where these guys confront him, and they're anti-Jesus. They don't believe in Jesus Christ. They're rejecting him. And Jesus, he's awesome. He says, look, excuse me. He says, look, I got to get over here. Well, maybe I can cut down the middle. California, they let us do this. Jesus says, look, I do the will of my Father, you do the will of your Father. And he's basically calling their father, you know, Satan. This is what he's saying. He's saying, look, your father's Satan. And I've noticed that on YouTube. Why do the atheists always bash God? The Amazing Atheist, Amazingly Hellbound Atheist, he has a video titled Jesus is a Scumbag. That's his video. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they will sink to no level. The nicest person in world history, Jesus Christ, and he's calling him a scumbag. And so when you watch the video, he basically says, Jesus didn't do any good miracles, so what? So he turned water into wine, da da da. But he conveniently leaves out the rising from the dead and bringing Lazarus back to life. Conveniently leaves out the taking the sins of man upon himself. Jesus is awesome. So, anyways, that's why I left atheism. I saw so much evidence, excuse me, I saw so much evidence for God. You know, the universe had to come from somewhere. But on atheism, you have to believe that nothing did it. You know, I can't believe that nothing did it. Oh, and then debates that I've had. You know, I debated Steve Shives, I don't know how he pronounces his last name. He's a very famous atheist on YouTube. Of course, all the atheists are like attacking him. You see how they eat their young. But if you click below here, you can see and hear the debate I had with Steve Shives. Now, go listen to all the arguments that I make, and then listen to the arguments that the atheists make, and in that debate with Steve Shives also. And what happens is, get a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, write all the arguments that I give for the existence of God, and write all the arguments that atheists give for the side that God does not exist. Okay? Go ahead and do that. And then see which one looks better to you. I challenge you. I challenge you to do what I did and be honest above everything. Be honest with yourself. And this is why I said atheism is a crutch for those timid people that cannot bear the reality of God. That's all it is. It's a crutch. So, but I challenge you guys, to look at the arguments on my side that I said, and look at the arguments on their side that the atheists say, and be honest. See which one does better. And if you're honest, you can't be an atheist. You can't be an atheist if you're honest. Now, when I was, just to give you some highlights from the debate with Steve Shives, you know, on Christianity, we can say why things are wrong. Why is rape wrong? Why is murder wrong? We can say these things. You know how Jesus said, hold on, I gotta get over here. You know how Jesus said, do unto others as you would have them do unto you? So you're not gonna murder someone or rape them. So, why does God say that homosexuality is sin? Because God is pure. God is holy. Why does God say, you know, don't cheat on your husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend? Because God is faithful. See, all good comes from God. It exudes, it comes from God. So, in the debates, when I ask atheists, is murder wrong? Is rape wrong? They'll actually say no. They'll say, no, it's not wrong, it's subjective. And that's one thing that, seriously, if you're an atheist, really, you're okay with that? What the hell's wrong with you? What are you thinking? You're okay with that? Have you lost your mind? It is just madness. Now, Steve, however, and I'm going to compliment Steve Shives, Steve said, well, yes, it is wrong. You gotta say that Steve's pretty cool for saying that. At least he's admitting it. It's like this huge motorcycle over here. I'm going to get around this truck real quick. He's got like a radio on. I can hear it from here. So Steve admits that it's wrong, and I said, okay, why is it wrong? He could not ground objective morality in atheism. How could you? On atheism, you're just a filthy, evolved animal. A filthy, stinky, evolved animal. Hey, don't get mad at me. Aaron Ross said you're just an ape. Did you see that video where Aaron Raw and Eric Hovind, they're at the ARC exhibit? And Aaron Raw is going ape over the ARC exhibit. And he says, he's talking, and I'm not making this up, he has a banana in his hand. I played the video back. He actually was holding a banana, which is just funny. And Eric Hovind says, do you believe that you're an ape? And Aaron Ross says, yes, we're apes. That's what he says. And then he got his poop and he threw it at Eric Hovind, but Eric ducked in it. No, I'm just kidding. But everything else I was telling the truth about. He did say he's an ape. So why would why would murder and all these other bad things be wrong if we're just evolved animals? I mean, who are you to tell me how to live my life if we're just animals? You see, it doesn't make any sense. So, atheism is a crutch for those timid souls that cannot fathom or bear the reality of God. My challenge is still out. Click share below this video, send this video to an atheist. I'm challenging atheists to provide proof and evidence that would finally at last show that atheism is accurate and correct. Where is this proof and evidence? You know what? I've been on YouTube a long time. Was 6-7 years. I remember back 2014 we challenged atheists to provide proof and evidence that atheism was accurate and correct. They couldn't do it. 2015 rolled around. We challenged them again. They couldn't do it. Why is this guy just with his brakes on? 2016 reared its ugly head. They couldn't do it. And alas, my subscribers, it is 2017. Listen to this. I'm holding my breath. I don't think atheists are going to do it. Don't hold your breath. what is it? I'm making this video in May, and it's 2017, so we got June, July, August, September, October, November, December, and then you know what it is? 2018. Do you think atheists will make it, or will they fail like they did in 2016, 2015, 2014? What do you think? You think they make it, or do you think they're going to fail? I think they're going to fail. Speaking of fail, California traffic. Look at this. California traffic is a total fail. This is why you want to get a motorcycle. I'll be one of the few people that can just move through that. Howbeit dangerous, lane splitting, not for the weak of faint of heart.